Unmute myself. Unmute myself. Here is the Zoom link. I've put it into the chat. Unmute myself. Here is the. Okay. And then Zoom. That's why I did this. Very good, very good. All done. So hi, welcome to the Zoom tube. I'm still feeling ill, but I wanted to commit to a stream this week. So I'm here with my sickness. I'm dedicated, I'm committed, I am fully involved, I am here. Don't make me laugh. You know when you have like a head cold or flu or something, and normally you ache, but I have this like pains, more than an ache, like a pain in my shoulder. On my shoulder area, up here. Yeah, not neck, it's more my shoulder. Yeah, it's really hurting. So yeah, I'll try and make it through. I'll try and do an hour. Not gonna laugh too much. Okay. Have some lemon water and have a sweet, a cough sweet nearby. And the heating is on. I'm wrapped up warm. I have tissue. I haven't got a spit bucket, but I'll have to just pause it if I have to spit. I'll have to just mute the camera and go and deposit it in the sink. But anyway. I've had some Lemsip as well, so a little bit, you know, paracetamol up. Anyway, I couldn't think of a title, so no title was forthcoming. So I've just called it Non-Duality. I think kept it as Non-Duality. So I'll just speak about non-duality. What non-duality is. You can feel it throbbing. Right. Chest is a bit bad as well. I can't run or walk fast. When I was younger, I had asthma, but around like age 14, I think it was. Yeah, around 14, I kind of like made myself grow out of it. Sounds bizarre, but I kind of like, it was a sports day and I was like having like an episode where I was like wheezing and tight chest. And I sat there and I just tried to like push, as in like breathe through it. Like I managed to keep breathing through it and I pushed through it with the breath and it like loosened and it cleared. And that was the end of my asthma. And but when I'm ill, I notice that I get tight chest, a tight area in a tight chest. And I'm short of breath, so yeah, so interesting, eh? So anyway, enough about illness. Non-duality. as I often say, non-duality is the best message, the best pointing, the best communication, the best subject, the best topic that there is. And it seems to me to be the only topic there is. Obviously that isn't true, but it is as well. Like, it's the only topic there is. Excuse me. So non-duality is pointing back to something that is primary in all experience. It's primary. It's even primary in deep sleep. Like, it's primary without experience. That's why I say it's the only subject, because everything else is moving and changing, appearing and disappearing, isn't constant, whereas non-duality is. Non-duality is. Maybe that's why they, in certain spiritual teachings, they point to the breath or the heartbeat. That seems to be the constant thing. When the body's alive, that is, it's the most constant thing, the breath or the heartbeat. Something that is, no matter what stories are being told, no matter what's seemingly happening, there's always this in out of breath, this pulsation of the heart and the breath. So they use that maybe to point outside of the stories and the thoughts and the emotions. But non-duality is pointing to that which is always, regardless of, I guess, breath or not breath, heartbeat or not heartbeat. There is something that is primary to everything. So this is what is overlooked in the human experience of being a human being. This simplicity of what we are, what this is, before ideas of who we are, before ideas of what this is. The simplicity of being, this simplicity of this empty looking, this emptiness. It's not a thingness. Like the mind so quick to jump to, I'm this, I'm that. My identity is this, identity is that. My situation is this, situation is that. It's so quick to jump into those identities, those labels, those names, those conditions, those perspectives, those positions, those limitations. But what is being exposed or being put forward here is something that isn't limited. It isn't bound up in these limitations. Our ideas, our human language, our human understanding of things, compartmentalizing of things. I mean, those things are necessary and they have relevance for our social world or social interactions. But that stops there. They have no relevance or no need in our essential being, in what we actually are. They come into play when we interact, when we have to fill in forms and do things, but what's been overlooked, what's not been exposed or contemplated maybe, is who we actually are beyond those things. Are those things actually the reality, or are they merely surface level? Are they merely ideas? It can sound so crazy to put those things into surface level identities and surface level realities, because it feels as if those things are deeper than that. They are real, they are who I am, they are what's looking, they are what's living, that they are truth. But like non-duality is revealing something much deeper, something much more fundamental. Something that seems to be covered up. Seems to be unacknowledged. But actually, as this is revealed, It's seen that that's actually the opposite way around, where before it might have seemed like that surface level, your identities, the limitations, the categories, the circumstances, that stuff seemed primary. And maybe you began to meditate and glimpse this stillness, this emptiness. But that seems as if that's like, that is temporary, or that is something that's hidden, or that is something that's not center stage. But it's actually flipped round, whereas that's actually who you are. What this is that meditation, is that emptiness, is that stillness. And those things you were claiming to be, identified with, living through, were actually things that were moving. They were the clouds. They weren't your essential nature. So it's this shift back to what you are, what always is. This dropping out of the mind, or this resting back as you are. This simple resting back as you are. Don't know of any other message that is as beautiful. If you know of one, please write it in the comments. But I don't know of anything else as beautiful. Hi, Rebekah. Just so in case you didn't know, my name isn't Rebekah. My name is Kelly. I changed it when I was 16 to Rebekah, but Kelly is my birth name. I legally was Rebekah, but I'm legally now back to Kelly. So Kelly is my official name. Anyway, hi, Rebekah. When we are in our essential nature, So sorry, yeah, before I do that, feel free to send any questions in through or speak even through Zoom. You can unmute in Zoom and ask the question, or you can write a question in the Zoom chat as well, or you can then write in the YouTube chat if you are not watching through Zoom. And just so you know, in Zoom, if you don't want to be on YouTube visually, then you have to keep your camera off. But you're free to have your camera on or off if you're in Zoom. But just so that you're aware that you'll be visible in YouTube. So Grant is saying, hi Rebecca, when we are in our essential nature, I lose it again in the activity of the relative dualistic craziness of my own mentation. Can you recommend a method to reconnect? Haha, bless you. Oh, what's the ha for? I'm not sure what the ha's for. When we are in our essential nature, I'll use it again. The activity of the, yeah. Well, the first thing I'd like to point out is this idea of I've lost it isn't true, because you never had it. The idea of claiming that you had anything is the initial error I want to point out, that you never had it. You can't have it. And that's a real common misconception that you could possibly see something or have something. And the question's always going to be, who had it? How did you have it? And what did you have? So that'd be the first thing I point out in that. That's totally an illusion that you had it. And then following from that is that you lost it. So the belief in that has to be exposed, that you had it and you lost it. That is craziness. That is dualistic. But we think that is true, that idea is true. I suppose your whole question's about that, really, losing it and then reconnecting to it. It's all based upon that initial illusion that you had it. So you having it, you losing it, you trying to reconnect through a method is built upon the fallacy of you having it in the first place. So I can't recommend a method to reconnect. But what I can do, I suppose, is one, point out the fallacy of that. And then two, Which is very much linked to one, really. The fallacy of that, of you having it in the first place, is that this is it. This is it. This is what you're looking for. So this hasn't been lost. It can't be reconnected to. It is. It is. It's just this idea of you, this idea of personal person. That believes it's true, believes it's real. Something you said made me laugh as well. Oh, okay. Thank you, Grant, for your question in the chat. Anand, is non-duality a kind of training or skill, or like Reiki? Is that visible on the YouTube? Let's have a look. No, it's not. Okay. Oops, I've lost it now. Checked. Is non-duality a kind of training or skill, like Reiki? Training or skill? No, it's not a training or a skill. I mean, it's not a training, but I can see how it is like I guess in a way of reprogramming. Like it is like a change to the old program of being someone. So in a way, it's kind of not a training, but it is some kind of a reconditioning or a undoing a program or something. So yeah, I could maybe liken it a bit to that, but it's not really a training where you're learning something and getting new skills and new powers or something. But it is a radical change. You don't get a certificate with a stamp and those things you get, rosette or something. Are you qualified now? You've qualified in non-duality. You don't get that. But yeah, definitely is like it is a change. It is a reprogramming or a deprogramming. In the realization of non-duality as this is it, why is there an experience of duality as well? Two states, as it were, one in conflict and bondage to self, and one of freedom and understanding. Why is there experience of duality as well? I don't know what you mean by that. Experience of duality as well. Experience of duality as well. I don't know what you mean by that. Two states, as it were, one in conflict and bondage to self, and one of freedom and understanding. I think maybe you're mentalizing freedom and understanding. Maybe you're mentalizing, I think that's the word, mentalizing it, making it into a state, a thing, and comparing it with another thing which you've called bondage and conflict. But there isn't two things. By you've written experience of duality, are you meaning like the appearance of form, so that the sound of these words, the wall, the hat, the jacket, the screen? Do you mean that there seems to be form, there seems to be sounds happening? There seems to be movement happening. Are they poles of the same thing? So if you're meaning that these forms, you're calling them duality, I wouldn't say that's duality. There's an appearance of duality, but there isn't actual duality. There's just that appearance of it. There's the appearance of separate forms, but actually they're not. They're not separate forms. They're what's happening, but they're not divided anymore. I mean, obviously, practically we say tissue and phone and glass and computer, but that's not the experience. That's just our use of language, our use of concepts. But this is talking about something beyond an understanding of mentally understanding something. This is like a change, like an internal shift or internal change. I say internal quite lightly. I just mean this change that happens. Where the experience isn't of duality. So this two state you're referring to isn't what's being spoken about. And I would suggest that is a mental projection of it, a mental image of it. it can seem that way, like the mind's in conflict, and it can be in conflict with the mind. But it's only really in conflict when you are there. So you are the conflict in a way. What I mean by you being there, I just mean this identification with the mind, this idea of you, this contraction of you identified with the image of who you are. This freedom isn't personal. It isn't a personal person. It isn't an individual, separate something. It's free. It's free of personhood. It's free of everything. I guess I must be mentalizing it, like you used to say, looking for an experience and not finding it or seeming that way. What was your experience of realizing non-duality? I wouldn't say you're mentalizing it either. It's just the way the mind is, that the mind can only be mental. It isn't, again, something for you to hold on to, for you to take responsibility for and ownership of. Yeah, what was your experience of non-duality? Yeah, when I get asked this, I really do struggle with it. Like I often just like brush over it and say, oh, it was just like, a gradual thing. I don't really like to talk about it too much. uh, yeah. Yeah, I don't like to talk about it too much. But I did remember the other day, I remembered, I forgot all about this, it's so bizarre. I forgot about it. I remember the other day about how the brain, like, it felt like the brain had, like, say you have like a neuron, or I don't know, a neuron or something. It felt like it had lost, the fuse blew and it had lost its like connection. It had lost like a connection in the brain or something. I'd forgotten about that. But it did feel like something wasn't able to, it wasn't able to connect in that way anymore. Yeah. It's just funny how you get used to that. It's not something that you can yeah, it's funny. You just get used to it. Yeah, I can't really talk about it. I just don't know what to talk about. Like, it's a difficult one to express, really. Yeah, yeah. can only say like something was revealed. Something was revealed. Yeah. Thank you, Glenn. Oh, I can feel that rub. I wore my glasses earlier and I'm shocked that I can see it. It's so bizarre. I don't wear them a lot. I wear them when I'm reading my book or something, but I don't wear my seeing ones. And I'm like, wow, I can see so much clearer. It's shocking. I'm not used to wearing them so much, but wow, makes a difference. It really does. I can see that really. I can see things, but it's like this is like crystal clear. Just feels weird to have them on. How's the text with it? Oh yeah, I can see that a lot better. But it's like, feel them here on my skin and here. So I was getting used to that feeling, I suppose. And seeing that, I can see the edge of them as well. So it feels great having it on, but just getting used to wearing it, I suppose. Everything's so clearer. So funny. Okay. So there's no questions on I didn't even check Skype. I think I'm no, I would see a notification. I'm sure it's fine. Okay, so thank you for joining the Zoom too. Yes. I'm going to be changing when I do the Zooms again. I'm sorry. I apologize for the constant shuffling around, but my life is a constant shuffle around, to be honest. Having 2 children, so yeah, we're going to be returning to home education after half term, and they're off school next week as well. So I'm going to have to yeah, I'm not sure how. I might go to the evenings again and do it later, or keep it at 11, but do it once a week. But you might hear them in the background, so I'm not sure how to do that, but I'm gonna figure it out and arrange it. So yeah, it's doable, it's possible. And so yeah, so I will make sure I put lots of messages to remind people of the new day and times and stuff. If it even does change, it could be possible to do it at the same time, but yeah, I'll keep you informed about that. But yeah, it's definitely a positive change. I feel good about it. And yeah, so thank you for joining, and I shall see you next week, next Tuesday. And yeah, lots of love and peace and joy. Okay, bye-bye.